Dashakam 32 talks about Matsyavataram. Now, as per in the Dashavatara series, Matsyavataram is said to be the first avatara. That doesn't mean that the order is always same. So Matsya, just because it comes in the Dashavatara first avatara, doesn't mean order remains the same or that's how first Matsya has taken place, Kurma and so on. Now some people will give some explanations also saying that how life has evolved, like a person called Charles also, how he told talks about Charles Darwin, talks about the evolution of life wherein different creatures are told starting from maybe a small insect, a reptile. One minute. Yeah. Yeah. So wherein that one person, just as he talks, how life evolves, right? So it can be from a water creature, then a land creature, then a creature who lives on land and water both. Like Matsya can live in water, Kurmas on both. Then slowly again an evolution takes place, Varaha, then Narasimha, then finally man. So like this, some people take. We cannot call that as wrong also, but as per any like we don't have any you can say reference in our scriptures which says that this is how the 10 avatars have taken place. These are considered the 10 primary or important avatars, but that doesn't mean that the order is in this way. Right? So, this firstly, then why Matsya Avataram is included as the first? Matsya Murti is that Lord who is the Lord of knowledge, of Jnanam. So, Jnanam or knowledge is very, very important in our lives. That's the reason Matsya Avatara is given the first preference. So, what happened is Pura Hayagriva, Pura long ago, Hayagriva. Now, Hayagriva, another form of Lord Vishnu. In this context, it is a name of an Asura or a Rakshasa. Hayaha Grivaha Yasya Saha. Hayaha, another name for a horse, Ashvaha. Grivaha meaning neck or Kantaha. So, one who has the face or neck of a horse. So, that's Hayagriva. So when this Asura was there, what he did was when Brahma one day when he was sleeping, at that time he goes and from the mouth of Brahma he steals all the Vedas. So that's when now if the Vedas are gone, everything is gone. Our base of Dharma is gone. That's the reason the Lord had to take an avatara in the form of a Matsya in order to safeguard the Vedas. Matsya Rupam took the form of a fish. Now, at that time, what happened is there was a sage called Satyavrata. Now, in this reference, it is called sage Satyavrata. Satyavratasya. You go to Dakshina Bharatam, or especially in Vaishnava traditions, also at a time it is written as Satyavrata as a king. Now, both are correct. How it is? Satyavrata Pandyan. He belonged to the lineage of the Pandyas. So, of Dravida Desham, that's in Dakshina Bharatam. Okay. So, the Pandyas, Cholas, and so on. Now here where it is given sage, it is correct because this king who was there in those times there was a tradition. Once Grihastha is done, once the responsibilities of king are done, you go to the forest, Vanaprasthashram. So here in this case also, the Satyavrata was a king previously. Later he had gone to the forest, so that's how he becomes a king. He spends his time in doing meditation, things like that. So once when this Satyavrata he goes there, he was a king of Dramilaha. There was a place called Dramila, and he was doing Tarpana in the rivers, in the river nearby. The name of the river was Kritamala River, Nadi Jale. Here, the name of the river is not mentioned. If you want, you can note it down. Extra reference. Kritamala is the name of the river which flows somewhat near Madurai, I suppose, in today's Dakshina Bharatam. And there he was doing Tarpana. Tarpana means he was offering his ablutions also. And at that time, suddenly he saw a small, tiny fish that was there. Kritamala. Kritamala. Today's times, I don't know whether. Same, yes, same. Finally, what happened is now suddenly you're doing tarpanam, a fish also comes in the hand. The sage was afraid, he again puts it down in water, right? And the Lord was afraid, it seemed. Bhattatri says, Kshiptam jane tvam chakitam vilokya Chakidam actually means surprise, but in this context, meaning shocked or frightened. Suddenly, if something happens, we are shocked, right? So it seems that the Lord, in the form of Matsya, became very afraid when the sage, it was a very small fish. So again, when the sage put it into water, the fish was very afraid. That's when Satyavrata he got the fish and kept him in his kamandil, which sages have. And in a few days, what happened is the Lord he overgrew. Now he went to a nearby pond. Now that pond Kamandalu became full. Then Satyavrata put him inside a well. Again the Lord overgrew. Then he put him in a closed tank or so, like a temple tank. That also was not enough. Finally he put him in a big lake. Now here what happened is, like this, the Lord in the form of Matsya kept on increasing his size. Finally Satyavrata had to bring him back to the ocean and put him there. Still the ocean was also seeming to be small. At this time Satyavrata realizes that who is this? I want to see. I want to know who you are. He surrenders to the Lord. And that's when he says that verse number 5. Verse number 4. Yoga prabhava bhava ajnayaiva. Wherein he says, the sage Satyavrata says, I wish to see who you are. I want to know who you are. I wish to see the pralaya kala. That's when pralaya is at the end of the world. Dissolution takes place. Right? So at that time the Lord said, Sapta aham Saptahamasveti vadannayasihi. Verse 4, Dashakam 32. Wherein the Lord says, you wait for a Saptaham, wait for 7 days, Pralaya will definitely take place. At that time, you can witness. Finally, on the seventh day, the earth was filled full of water, and along with the Saptarishis, says Satyavrata also was flowing, it seems, and all of them they surrendered to you. Finally, the Lord Bhuma Devi, it seems, she used to listen to the commands of the Lord. Bhuma Devi, goddess Earth, assumed the form of a boat so that Saptarishis and sage Satyavrata, they all can sit on the boat and flow along. And now it was heavy storm-like situation. Even the boat was also moving and trembling here and there. But still, there again, Matsyamurti appeared in the form of a huge fish, and all the Saptarishis they were delighted to see the fish. It was, now what is the size? It is mentioned here. Jashakritim meaning a form of a fish. Yojana Lakshadhirgam. Bhattatri highlights here that the size of the fish was more than a lakh yojanas in length. Such huge was Mutsimurti. And finally, what happened is he also had a thorn on his front part on his face. That's where the boat was tied with a string. Finally, the Lord pulled the boat, and the sages, along with Satyavrata, when they were crossing over the ocean, they saw the various regions of the world. And at that time, Satyavrata kept on singing the glories of the Lord. And finally, the Lord also, what he did was, I told you, Matsamurti is a lot of knowledge. He bestowed knowledge on these Saptarishis, all the Vedic knowledge that was there. That was the main purpose of Matsyavataram. So he imparted knowledge to the Saptarishis and to Satyavrata while they were crossing over the ocean. Philosophy, Vedic knowledge, everything was conveyed. Finally, at the end of Pralaya, all the Saptarishis went back to their places, and mainly King Satyavrata was named as Vaivaswata Manu, current Manvantara, Vaivaswata Manvantare, the current Manvantara's Manu, and finally Matsimurti also attacked the demon Hayagriva. Finally, he tore with the horn that was there of Matsamurti, he tore the chest of Hayagriva, he killed him. Thus all the Vedas were recovered. Nigaman Grihitva, and all of them were handed over to Lord Brahma. This is how Matsyavatara takes place. So Bhattatri here comes to a conclusion saying that just as you assume the form of a Matsya in order to save the Vedas, in order to guide Seth Satyavrata and the Saptarishis properly, similarly, O Lord of Guruvayur, Prabhanjana Garapate Prabhaya, O Lord of Guruvayur, please come and protect me. So this is all about Dashakam 32. Could everyone follow? So now Matsyavatara, there is another reference. Now little it's not highlighted by Bhattatri. Now Bhattatri, if you see, he has got a challenge. Right? In about 10 to 12 verses, he has to cover the entire topic. Just imagine 18,000 plus verses of Srimad Bhagavatam condensed in 1038 roughly verses. It's so difficult. From small you can make something big, but from bigger thing you cannot make something small. That too for our scriptures also who are so deep. Right? But still Bhattatri has tried his level best, so we have to appreciate that. But apart from this also there are small stories here and there. Like Matsyamurti, the four Kumaras who are there, Sanaka, Sanandana, the four Sanat Kumaras. It seems that Matsyamurti milked them in the sense just as a mother would milk her kids, and that's a source of nourishment, right, for the newborn baby. Similarly, Matsyamurti has given his milk like a mother would care. Similarly, a guru is very, very important in one's life. This Matsyamurti has shown to the world. He imparted the knowledge to the Saptarishis, to Satyavrata, and also to the four Sanat Kumaras. Through the Saptarishis and the four Sanat Kumaras, that's how knowledge has spread in the world. That's how even till date you have people learning the Vedas and so many things that are there. Right? So Guru Parampara that was there, respecting one's own Guru, or the importance of having a Guru in one's life is very, very important. This is highlighted by Matsya Avatar. So, like in the Vishnu Sahasranama stories, few of us we have seen. So Matsya Avatara, why an avatara took place to safeguard the Vedas. So this is Vedas are a form of knowledge. Knowledge is very, very, that's why we say knowledge, education, learning is important. Very, very important. If that is not there, then definitely it is going to put us down. If you, all of us here, we are all learned, right? That's the reason you can live a life. But if someone is a fool also, he doesn't know what's happening, his own life is in danger. So knowledge is very, very important. If that is not there, life is waste. So if human life is there, we have to be knowledgeable. Knowledgeable doesn't mean, okay, I just learn 5 things, 6 things also. Knowledge. Now here when I say knowledge, it's again not limited to only maybe bookish knowledge, educational knowledge also. Knowledge of our scriptures, everything. Everything is very much important, right? And again, at the same time, knowing what is good and what is bad. This is one thing which Matsya Avataram highlights. Secondly, the Lord says that though God is present everywhere, still having a guru is very, very important. The Lord here incarnated as Matsya, being a guru to the Saptarishis and the Satyavrata, like a guru would guide people, saying that, okay, come here, do this. Now, there are 10 things that are there. I'll give you an example for this. Ramayana, Mahabharata, everything is there, right? But you can also go to the market, you buy a book, you read the Ramayana, you can do. You don't need someone to tell you this. For a child also, it goes to school, right? Books are anyway available in the bookshop. The child can read, and nowadays you have external sources also to write an exam also. But no, we go to the school or we send our children to school. Not only school, we send them to 10 different classes. Why? Child is learning the same thing everywhere. If you want, the child can learn at home by itself. You can also sit and teach. But no, we need someone to teach the child. That is very, very important. Otherwise, so having a guru in one's life is very important because you need a proper guidance. So all these gurus who are there, one thing, they guide us on the right path. Secondly, they themselves have practiced that. Human nature is something wherein, or like children also. That's why we say, right? What you tell them, the child does not do. But what you do, the child does it immediately. So this is human nature. This is not limited to children alone. We are also in the same category. We also, if someone tells us to do something, we did you do it first? We question them back, right? So only when someone does it, and the opposite person, guru does something, we say, oh, this person has done it. This person is very much learned, so therefore I should also do. So God is there. Everything is present. You have the Itihasas, you have the Vedas, you have this, you have that, you have the school books, like I told you. Everything is there, but we need a push. We need someone to tell us, come here, pick this up, read it, right? That is something which is very important. Therefore, more than God also, Guru is someone who is needed. God is there, no doubt, but if the Guru is not there, if he doesn't take us close, there's no use of God also. So this is Guru Mahima, which is again highlighted in Matsya Avatara. Very, very important aspect of an avatar, right? Okay, so for this we'll stop here. Vijay, you start Aarti. Kritamala. 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 Vijay, start. दशकं 33 अम्बरीषचरितम् वैवस्वताख्यमनुपुत्रनभागजात. So Ambarisha, as we know, is a great king, and mainly he was known for his vrata that he had kept on the day of Dwadashi. Now, the first line of Dashakam 33 talks about the lineage of, or the ancestors, or to which family Ambarisha belonged to. So first is Vaivaswata Manu. His son was Nabhaga, and to him was Ambarisha. So Manu, Nabhaga, Ambarisha. That's how the lineage goes. And Ambarisha was the one who was ruling over all the 7 seas. Now today's times we say 7 continents, right? Or all the seas when we say, that means the entire world was under Ambarisha's control. And he was the one. Now though he was a great king, he had conquered the entire world, still Sapta Arnava, one was ruling over the 7 seas. Still Saptarnava Vritamahi Dayitopi Reme Tvatsangisho. But still, he was very much attached in doing what? In serving devotees of the Lord, in chanting the names of the Lord, doing worship and so on. So, though he was a king, he was not much attached to Rajya Sukham, that is there. He was totally engrossed in chanting the names of the Lord and serving other fellow devotees who are there. A very, very important aspect of Ambarisha Charitam is I do worship, that is important, but serving fellow Bhagavatas is something which is one level high, right? So you might go to maybe any religious function also, maybe like a puja, or it may not be only a religious function, maybe a wedding or anything that is there. Now, even to conduct a puja also. Now, many times if there is a puja also, you have 10 people go and participate. Participating, chanting mantras, doing puja is one aspect, but the arrangements that are there, or 10 people working behind maybe we have food arrangements or so much of those puja items to be purchased, this and that, booking the place, so many things that we do. For all that also is very, very important. So this is nothing but Bhagavata Dharma. Bhagavata Dharma is no doubt you chant the names of the Lord, no doubt you worship, no doubt you do puja, that is definitely good. But helping all these things to happen. If all those arrangements are not made, then you cannot go and do a puja there or chant something. No, I'll just chant and come back. It doesn't happen that way, right? There are so many things, so many arrangements to be made. Or even there is a wedding also. Ah, no, I just go, I'll attend the wedding and come. Behind that one wedding, there are so many things which have to be taken care. This we come to know only when a wedding happens in our own house, our own family, right? So Ambarisha was one amongst those who not only worship the Lord, who he himself was a great devotee, was a great Bhagavata, but Bhagavata, it's not just Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavataha, one who follows Bhagavata Dharmam, which is nothing but worshipping the Lord. Something associated with Bhagavan, that is all Bhagavata. I think in some session we had seen the meaning of Bhagavatam also. So, Ambarisha belonged to that category. Dashakam 33 or Ambarisha Charitam is a very, very important Charitam. And the best learning from this Charitam is I serve, I worship, that is no doubt important. But contributing to that cause, again, when I say contributing, need not be only monetary terms. Oh, there is some puja happening there, I give 1,000 rupees, that's done. They will do everything, they'll send me the prasad. That's not at all so. What Kainkaryam you do there, how you are present there, what is your contribution physically, how much you do, how much you take care, what are the arrangements you do, maybe it can be the puja items that you buy or maybe arrange things and this and that, whatever it is, all this is very, very important. Ambarisha was known for that. So here Bhattatri highlights saying that this great king who was there, though he was a very great ruler having a control over all the seven seas, but still he was a great Bhagavata who helped fellow devotees also in Bhakti Margam. And whatever he did, it was total dedication, total surrender. I did this, there was no pride at all. That I element, aham, this element was not at all there. Everything is surrendered to grace. Tvat pritaye, second verse. For your pleasure, that is for worshipping the Lord, for the sake of the Lord, he used to do everything. And it seems that that's when Bhattatri very nicely he highlights here saying that without he even asking how the Sudarshana Chakra came and protected Ambarisha. Now we know the story that goes behind. We look at that story in detail next. So here Bhattatri says, Chakram Bhavan Pravitatara Sahasradharam. Dashakam 33 verse 2 says that Ambarisha, he was just doing his duties, he was just trying his level best to show bhakti and surrendering everything to you. At that time, without he even asking you to protect him, O Lord, you send the chakra behind him to protect him. How, what? Let's look at the story. So what happened is Sadvadashi. Once it so happened that in order to worship you, he was the one who was following the Dwadashi Vrata and continuously he was fasting on the Ekadashi Vrata. As we know, on Ekadashi Vrata, full day it is fast. On Dwadashi, you have to break the fast. So continuously for 1 year on the banks of the Yamuna river, Ambarisha along with his wife was following the Dwadashi rites and in a place called Madhuvanam. And he once that 1 year period was done, he conducted a very great puja also. A lot of holy men, sadhus, sages, munis were all invited, and he was giving all of them about Pashushashti Kotim, Shashti Kotim, Shashti 60 Kotim crores. Now, Godanam is very, very important, very auspicious. In today's times, of course, it's not that common, but Gopunyam or Godanam is something which is very, very auspicious. And in those times, kings used to donate in cows. So 60 crore cows were being given in Danam by Ambarisha. Then after all the worship, puja, everything was being done, the fast had to be broken. At that time, suddenly Durvasa came at the place and he was also invited, told that please have food. At that time, little Durvasa's nature, all of us, we know that is his nature, of course, not to blame. He very nicely, what he said is, let me go to the river, let me do fresh up, do my Nitya Karma, Sandhya Vandanadi Karmas, and then I will come and have food. But then now what was happening? Now the sage king was in a Ragnatha Parana Muhurta Samapti Kheda. Little Ambarisha was started facing anxiety. That is, he didn't know what to do because he could not tell anything to Durvasa. At the same time, he had to break. Now the Dwadashi Vratam has to be broken at the right time. Whenever we do some fast puja or things like that, there is a particular muhurta. Usually if you see on the day of Dwadashi, little we have to eat early. You should not rather eat it at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock or so. Some people have it around 10:30, 11. You should finish your meals. Why so? Meal also should be light. A very practical reason behind it, Ekadashi Vratam, previous day entirely or fasting. So suddenly you cannot gobble up food, it will cause us problem. So therefore quantity should be less, food also, but it should be full meals, rice, etc. Whatever we have. Now depending on where we stay, the tradition can differ, but little quantity should be less. Whenever we break a fast, slowly and gradually only you should consume food. One entire day I'll not eat anything, next day suddenly I'll start piling up my stomach. That should not happen. Our body is also a system, it takes time to adjust. So therefore, that's the reason on the Dwadashi Vratam, little early we have food, rather we should have food. There is a particular muhurta also. And similarly, the Sambarisha also wanted to do that. But now little he was anxious what to do in this situation. And he said, okay, let me not have food. I'll do one thing. I'll consume water. He has water, and immediately now the sage, through his divine Divya Drishti, he came to know that this Ambarisha has consumed water. He became very angry and he plucked, you can say, a hair, you can say a strand of hair out of his jata, and out of that an evil spirit came out. It seems Kritya. Vitatana Krityam. Verse number 5. Krityam is the name of an evil spirit which was created by Durvasa. He cursed the sage, he called names, kept names to Ambarisha, this and that. And now the king was just standing still. He was not at all afraid by seeing that evil spirit who had a sword in his hand. And as if he's going to end up the entire world, that evil spirit or so-called demon, you can consider like a ghost form, was standing in front of Ambarisha, was nothing happened. At that time, the Lord from Swarga, from Vaikuntham, he saw that Bhattitriya says, Twadbhaktabadam sudarshanam te. When you saw your devotee in danger, immediately, O Lord, you sent your Sudarshana Chakra, and which consumed Kritya, same which consumed that evil spirit also, and then it started chasing Durvasa. And Durvasa Rishi was very much afraid. He started running around all the worlds, and wherever Durvasa went, he saw only Sudarshana Chakra everywhere. He went to Brahmalokam. He said that at that time Brahma said, no, I cannot do anything. You please go. Next, she went to Shivalokam. Shiva also said, no, you surrender to Vishnu only. I will be of no help. Finally, Durvasa, he reached your abode, that is Vaikuntham. He surrendered to the Lord. And at that time, the Lord, he made a very important statement. He says, Bhavanaham Rishena Nubhakta Dasaha. Verse number 8. Very beautiful line. Wherein the Lord says, I am a servant of the devotees. It's not that devotees are my servant or devotees are my worshippers. I am their servant. Nanu Bhakta Dasaha. Bhattatri very beautifully he tells, wherein he says that just now here again an important line. Jnanam tapascha vinayan. Jnanam, knowledge. Tapaha, great austerity is tapasya. All that is definitely needed. Knowledge is important, tapasya is important, having a control over your senses is important. But if there is no vinayam, if there is no modesty, if there is no humility, if you are not down to earth, if you are very much proud, everything is useless. I do not consider a bhakta like this at all. Just being knowledgeable is not at all enough. You don't chant the entire Sahasranama, it is okay. You just chant Ramanama, that is fine. But I know the entire Sahasranama, I know this, I know that. But if I'm puffing my chest and chanting, there is no use. Instead of that, let me sit down at a place. Let me very nicely with four other devotees chant Ramanama. That is more than enough, the Lord says. Just as Krishna highlights in Bhakti Yogam also Gita. So here similarly he says, Jnanam tapascha vinayan vitameva manyam. So therefore, the Lord says, I respect only those devotees who are blessed with or who along with knowledge and tapasya great things, they are also blessed with modesty, humility, down to earth nature. For me, being great alone is not enough. You should always be humble. So now what you do is Yahyam Barisha Padameva Bhajeti Bhuman. Go and ask for forgiveness, surrender at the feet of Ambarisha only. I also cannot say, my devotee can say. This shows the importance of Bhagavata Dharma. This is also highlighted in the Ramayana, just for extra reference, I'm saying. Now it is said that amongst the four brothers, Rama is no doubt the Lord, right? Bharata, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. Lakshmana was serving Rama, Shatrughna was serving Bharata. So it seems that more than Rama and Bharata, Lakshmana and Shatrughna are great, it seems, because they were born as Bhagavatas to serve Bhagavan, right? Now, amongst that also, Shatrughna is considered to be greater, because he was the one who was always listening to everyone. You stay in the kingdom, okay. You be with the family, okay. For everything he was following. So this is nothing but Bhagavata Dharma, wherein Sumitra Devi also says that I want to be blessed with two children who will be serving the Lord themselves. Now Bharata also is a form of the Lord only. So one who served the Lord directly, Lord Vishnu himself. Another child was there who served the other form of the Lord, that is Bharata, who is again a great Dharmottama. Dharma Devaha, another name for Bharata is Dharma, follower of Dharma. Rama also gives this reference to Lakshmana in many places during their Vanavasam. If you want to know Dharma, go and ask Bharata. When Lakshmana gets very angry on Bharata during the Vanavasa time, he says that don't say so. Bharata is a person who knows Dharma alone. So one who served Dharma and one who served the Bhagavan himself. Even when they go to Vanavasa, Rama tells Lakshmana that you go and seek permission from your mother Sumitra. At that time, Sumitra says, why you're still waiting, you should have left by now. So this is because she knew that both her sons were born to serve the Lord. So finally the Lord says, go and seek. Similarly, here also, Lord says that I also cannot save you from the Sudarshana Chakra. Go and surrender at the feet of Ambarisha. Finally, Durvasa comes, he surrenders at the feet of Ambarisha. And the king was struck, he didn't know what to do. And similarly, he goes himself back. He surrenders at the feet of Durvasa, saying that you are such a great sage and you are no one. Why are you coming and surrendering at my feet? The minute Durvasa fell at the feet of Ambarisha, Sudarshana Chakra went back. Finally, the sage was very happy, and Ambarisha, he started praising him, the kindness. And in spite of Durvasa's sending an evil spirit and getting angry on Ambarisha, still Ambarisha was very kind. Durvasa became very happy on this and he blessed the king. Finally, what happened is, but still, the now the next step, Raja Pratiksha Munime Kasamamanashwan. In fact, here what happened is, the king, he waited after all this incident happened. It took a lot of time. The Dwadashi Vrata was not, though it got completed again. The king, he waited for the sage to return. And once the sage returned, again for 1 year, Ambarisha did not have food. He gave him food, sent off Durvasa happily, and then only he consumed food. So thus the king became a great devotee of the Lord. He attained Vaikuntham. So similar. So here, in fact, after this Durvasa episode, again Ambarisha is said to have done the Dwadashi Vratam. When Durvasa and the Rishi and all the Rishis have come back, he has fed them all properly. Then he broke the Vrata and so on. That's how the story goes. Similarly, here Bhattatri in last verse, verse number line, he says, Tatsayujya samam pavaneshapayaha. And after all this incident, the king became, Ambarisha became more devoted to the Lord. Similarly, O Lord of Guruvayur, kindly protect me. This is how Dashakam 33, Bhattatri concludes. Yeah. So for with this